Very good evening to one and all present here. I, Lokendra Singh, welcome you all to the fifth session of eStart 2021, which is a pre-incubation training program for the early age startups organized by Entrepreneurship Cell, MIT University Rajasthan, in association with MIT Innovation Incubator Jaipur, supported by Atal Innovation Mission and Institution Innovation Council. The course will cover all aspects from idea validation to market research through training and monitoring to business planning, prototyping, and demonstration. Today is the fifth session of the 8-week long program. I hope this course will be a great learning journey for all of you here. The topic for today's session is market research, and our expert for the session is engineer Lavishan, a business analyst enthusiast. He completed his PGDM in insurance business management from Birla Institute of Management Technology, and he's also the co-founder of Frolic Healthcare Private Limited. We also have engineer Divakar Srivastava, previously mentor and investor of UMAC India, currently project manager in IPR Stellaris consultancy service and founder of Frolic Health Tech Private Limited. I, on behalf of the whole team, welcome both of you, sir. We are fortunate to have both of you here.
Thank you very much for this kind introduction. So let's start the session. I just share my screen and my presentation. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for today's session, the topic is market research. So I will be covering the definition of market research, the steps involved, what are the impact of market research on a business, either it's a startup or a currently established company in the market, and at what point market research is required. I will be covering the whole, what tools and techniques are used in the analysis of market data that was collected during the market research, and what are the pitfalls that the company faces during the market research. I will be covering that also. So after this session, an individual will be able, I think an individual will be able to uh, do or formalize the steps regarding the market research. He or she can proceed with the market research for his organization or the startup. So let's proceed. Yeah. So first of all, let's look at what is market research and why market research is important right now. Just for a small check, is my voice audible clearly? Can anyone please tell?
Yes, sir, you are clearly
Yeah.
audible.
Yeah, one more thing. If my screen is not visible at any point, to kindly please don't write in chat. Please directly tell me, because I don't read chats during the presentation time. So directly tell me so that I will rectify the problem as soon as possible. So let's go through this. What is market research and why market research is important? What it helps an entrepreneur to do regarding his or her business, or an organized or a properly running company. What market research help in? Let's look into that. So if I look at the proper definition of market research, or a simple definition, not a complex one, it's simple. It is a systematic gathering, recording, and analyzing of data about problem relating to the marketing of goods and services. It's a one-liner definition. If I will describe you this definition, then you can see that if you have a problem, you see a problem, or you are going to launch a product in the market, anything, then first of all, what you do is you want to ask from the customer, your customer, that whether this will be good or not, or if there's a problem regarding the branding or the image of your organization, you want to go to the customer, you want to go to the public to ask them what is the reason behind that and how you can improve that. For this, the company generally go through the market research, go to conduct the market research, with the help of which the company gets the data from the field, from the field. Either it is primary data if it is directly taken by the company, or the secondary data which has been published in any article, newspaper, magazine. They take reference of that. I will be discussing all these in the coming slides. The company take all these data, then analyzes that data and reach to a conclusion and try to find the solution to the problem. The first and most important thing in this definition is the problem, the word problem. Here the company, if they want to do a good market research, then they have to make the problem very nice, or you can say it should aims the main thing. If the problem is vague, then the market research done will not give that suitable result and will not help in rectifying the problem or give the solution to the particular problem for which the company is finding currently. So why market research is important? If you want to see, the first thing is that to spot the current and is anyone there? Yeah. So why market research is important? If we look into that, the first thing is to spot the current and upcoming problem in the market. Yes, it is not required only for the future problems or if you want to look for the future problem, it is also for the current problem which company is facing. And here problem is not in a negative sense. It can be a positive sense, like if you want to launch a product, it's a positive thing for a company that they are going to launch a product, or they are going to introduce a new vertical of their organization. So for that also market research will be required. So to spot the current and upcoming problem in the market, reduce a business risk, identify the sales opportunity. They can go into market to identify the new customer, or to do a new to find a new customer. They can identify other sales opportunities in different areas. In this also the market research is conducted to develop plan of action, the future plan of action or the current plan of action. To make decision for the market selection, the market research is also done. Sometimes you also find that there are 2 to 3 people who are in a particular shop asked to taste something. They are representing a company, so this is also a kind of market research they are doing for the organization. Most of this we get to see in shops in malls like Big Bazaar or Reliance Fresh, Reliance General. We get along these things. So this is a part of market research that a company is conducting in that particular shop with the help of that shop, that they want to take the review regarding their product they are going to launch or is in the market that has not been in the public very much. So they want to get a review of that. For that, they also do the market research, and with the help of this they select a particular market for the product, and most important, to make the decision regarding the image or branding of a company or a startup, the market research is conducted. So this is the basic gist of what a market research is, why is it important. Now continuing to the next part. So there are 7 steps in which the market research is conducted. I will be discussing each 7 step in detail. So let's go through the name of the 7 steps, and then we will see in the detail what these 7 steps want to say. First thing is define the problem, then develop a market research plan, proper planning. Second is select research type. Third is select research type. Fourth is design research question. Fifth is collect the data. Sixth is organize and analyze the data, and seventh is present or finding. Each step is kind of connected with each other, and it should be properly. Each step should be properly planned, so that it won't hamper the next step. Because if you see the first and second step, define the problem and develop the market research plan. If the problem is not properly defined, then the plan. If the problem is not, who's there?
Yeah.
If the problem is not properly defined, then the research plan, then the company which is going to make a research plan will not take place in a right manner. So each step is kind of interconnected with each other. If the research plan is not properly made, then the type of research which will be suitable for the particular problem will not be selected, and hence it will hamper the data collection, the designing of research question, and everything. So let's go to each one of these steps. First is define the problem. how the problem is defined. Here I am taking a small scenario. Don't take it as an example that only the negative problem will be there. There's a small scenario. So how the problem is derived? First, the company try to look at an opportunity, that this is the opportunity, and with the help of those opportunity or that opportunity, the company derives some problem, reach to some problem for which they want to do the research. They want to do the market research. The first thing is that a simple definition. In this stage, the company need to identify the actual problem that are relating to the apparent symptoms. So here, if you look at there's an opportunity with the organization, with the company, that they are trying to launch a new product or service. So if a company has a good brand image in the market, then it is quite easy for them to launch a new product or service, and the market research will only be done in the direction of whether this service will be welcomed by the people or not, or this service they are going to launch in the future will be suitable for the people or for the target market or not. But if what happens if there's not a good image of that organization in the market, or there's some negative point regarding that organization, so there will be four problems which that particular company has to face, for which the market research can be done. The first is that awareness of the company and its product or service is very low. If you are a startup, you are just growing, or you are on a growing stage. So at that time, the awareness about your company and product is obviously low. So for this, you have to do the market research. You have to find whether your idea or the product or the service that you are going to launch in the market will be suitable for the customers or not, whether the target, whether you are thinking that this is a target population, whether that population will welcome your product in the future or not. So for this also the market research can be done. Second problem can be the market is familiar with your company but still is not doing business with you. There are many instances that market is very familiar with the company, but they don't want to do business with that particular company. You take a small example of Nokia. At the time when Android has emerged very well, and Samsung took the market from Nokia. Nokia was a well-known name in every household in India, but people were not buying Nokia mobile phone because they are not giving the latest technology what the customer want. In that case, they should go for the market research. I think they went for the market research to find out what is the problem, what are the main reason that mm, what are the main reason that the market is not doing business with you, with Nokia. With that, they got some result, and yeah, they implemented them in the organization, and again relaunched themselves in India with Android installed devices. Third thing is that your company has a poor image and reputation. This can be because of the low after sales service, or a bad after sales service. So from this they can find a solution for this particular problem, that yeah, uh, the yes, the customers or the past customers are not finding the proper services or anything regarding your product, and they don't want to do business with you, and there's a poor image and reputation of your organization or your company. Fourth thing is that your goods and services are not reaching the buying public in a timely manner. This can be a problem of supply chain management. So these are the problem, and they can find the solution. What are the reason behind that? With the help of market research, with the help of different analysis they do in the market research, they can find a solution for that and rectify these problems, so that the company won't hamper in the future, and proper things, and there will be smooth functioning of the company, so that they can stay in the market and play for a very long time. So this is the first thing: define a proper problem with which is aligned to the opportunity, and do the market research based on that problem, and try to find out the solution regarding this problem. So the second thing is that developing a proper market research plan. So market research plan include three things: defining the objective, defining the budget, and last, defining the time. Budget and time are the most important thing in the market, in developing the market research plan. Objective is of course, but it is kind of part of step one. If broadly, if you want to see in step two, the most important thing are budget and timetable. Because if you flow money like anything in market research only, then how will you do the marketing of that particular product or service or the company? after you get the result of the market research, and also the timetable. If you take so much of time only in the market research and developing their results and all the stuff, then I think it will the product that you are going to launch will automatically become kind of outdated in the market at the time when you will be launching it. So the company must adhere to the budget and adhere to the timetable also. Now let's go through each of this objective, budget, and timetable one by one. So the objective. What objective is? First thing, if you see, explore the nature of problem so you may further define it. Problem is a one-liner thing. Every problem must contain some objective, and there are some objective which is kind of hidden in the problem. So the company has to find the objective properly. Second thing is that determine how many people will buy your product packed in a certain way and offered at a certain price. This is a very important objective if you are launching a new product. Uh, Many of the people will like the packaging of the product. Many of the people won't like the packaging of a product, and or many of the people will the product at a price of X rupees, or many people will like the product at a price of 5 rupees. For example, if you have seen in the kitchen at your home that the Vim bar, the dishwasher, was launched earlier with a package with a different kind of packaging uh, thin coating at the soap. So at that time the sales of the Vim bar has slightly goes down, and they did a market research, and after this a different kind of packaging was introduced with a different kind of layer. I think the layer has been removed nowadays. So this is what result of market research, that there's a problem that why the sales of Vim bar has been decreased, and there's an objective to determine whether it is the product packaging, whether it is product design, whether it is product price. What are the main reason behind this sales decrease of the dishwasher? So you have to determine the objective with the help of problem, and go to find the reasons regarding that, and go to uh, and inline your market research with the objective of the particular problem. The third thing is that test possible cause and effect relationship. For example, if you lower your price by 10%, what increased sales volume should you get? So you can do a cause and effect relationship. You can find what will be impact of A on B, what will be impact on B on C. So you have to look into this picture. The company have to look into this picture, and follow this thing, and go for the future sales or the future increment of the company in the market. One more thing is that what will the impact of this strategy have on your profit? So the main thing, the end result a company want is a better profit. So they can do the cause and effect relationship, that if they will lower the price by some percent, that will there be uh, impact on the profit of the particular product. What will, if they implement this new strategy, this new market strategy, this new offer on the product, then will there be any kind of overall profit, or there won't be any kind of profit? So company have to look into this and go for the market research. Second thing is the budget. Budget is one of the most important aspect at any point in any aspect of a organization. The company must look into optimizing the budget, or kind of lower the budget to, but they also have to look that they will get a good result out of this budget. uh, the company not directly do that, yeah, I will going to lower the budget, but I don't and I want a good result. For a good result you have to spend the money, but not like the continuous flow of the money. You have to look on that the money which has been spent is optimal, and you are getting a good result into that money spent, or that budget sanctioned to this particular project. So the market research project is a proportion of your overall marketing budget. Yeah, the market research is a part of marketing. So it is, so the budget that is given to the market research is a proportion of the overall marketing budget of an organization, or it can be the overall marketing budget of single vertical only. So you have to assign the budget from that particular segment, or from that particular section only. So you have to look in this aspect also that you don't kind of use the whole marketing budget, or only or the 50% marketing budget, because the marketing aspect, the marketing of a product or a new service is a very huge task. So if so it requires a lot of money at that time. So you must allocate a suitable amount of money for the market research of a new product or service that a company want to launch in the market, or any problem that you want to find out with the help of market. Then second is allocate a small percentage of gross sales for the most recent year to use of market research. Yeah, this is a small example. If you are kind of recent startup, you are not sanctioning the budget for this is the marketing budget, this is the supply chain budget, or this is anything. So you can, what you do, you can use a small percentage of what you can allocate the small percentage of the gross sale of previous year or the most recent year for the market research. Kind of just I have just written 2% of the existing business. You can allocate that and use those money for the market research of the new product, service, or a new vertical that you are going to launch. Third thing is planning to launch a new product or business. You may want to increase your budget to as much as 10% of your expected gross sales. So here you can see the maximum what you can allocate is 10%. Like if the overall marketing budget is 100, then only 10 rupees should be spent on the market research aspect. So not that much, because the other steps also require very much amount of money, and marketing itself require a lot of money, because it kind of commercialize your product, then choose of the brand ambassador, all these things require a lot of money. So market research, the sanction should not be very less, and it should not be very high, should be optimal, and you try to get the result in the optimal budget only. Fourth thing is that other market methods include analyzing, estimating the competition budget, and calculating your cost of marketing per se. Yeah, also if you are kind of in a confused state that what budget should I give to the market research, the best thing is that every company has a competitor in the market, either of its same status or high or low status. So look at that, how much budget they are spending on this market research step. You can see at that, and then analyze for your own company and use the budget. It's not that you are going to know the exact amount what they are using or what they are allocating for the market research. It's like that you have to take an idea, you have to make a rough idea, and you get these numbers in the market. When you start playing in the market, you get these numbers, and from there you can analyze that, yes, this is the competition's budget for this step, and I will be like, if it is feasible for me, I will be allocating the same, or I will be kind of allocating the equivalent budget with respect to my marketing of the product, my sales of product, or my profit. So I have to allocate the same budget or kind of equivalence of that budget with respect to my capacity. Fourth thing is that timetables or a flow chart or a deadlines, right? So in the market research, there are many steps. You have already seen that there are 7 steps, and there are also sub steps in all these 7 steps. So prepare a proper detailed timeline to complete all step of the market research process. A proper timeline, a proper flow chart with a proper deadline has to be created, so that you won't lag on this step, because market is very fast moving thing. It is moving at very fast pace. If you have decided that you are going to launch a product A, then you have to make sure that you launch the product A at that time when it is likely to sustain in the market, not at that time that it has automatically outdated in the market. Like you are planning to launch a product A in 2021, and you are thinking that 2021 will be right for you, but you have thought of launching this in 2018. So the technology is moving at a very fast pace, even the market is moving at very fast pace. So you can't predict that whether the 2021 will welcome this product or not, whether the technology that you are going to launch in 2021 will be outdated or not. So follow a proper detailed timeline, uh, because yes, the market is moving very fast, and second, the competition is very stiff. Sometimes this happens also that you are going to launch product A. If your news has leaked in the market, then someone else launched the same product or product with kind of more specific kind of more details. So always adhere the timeline, follow the timeline very well, and try to do all the steps of market research in time, because after market research you have some other step that you have to implement the findings of your market research into your product. You have to implement the finding into the marketing of the product and the services. So adhere the timeline. I'm telling this again and again because this is the one of the most important thing, adhering to the timeline. Second thing is that establish target date that will allow the best accessibility to your market. This is, I have told you right now that follow the deadlines very strictly. The deadline has to be met in a very strict mode, because deadline are mostly prepared by taking the market into the mind, by taking the market that yeah, this will be good, and if the product will be launched by this date, then it will sustain into the market for further time. Or you also have to take the things into account, that whether the product is launched on a particular date, then it is not going in acceleration mode from the first day only. You have to take into this thing account also, because sometime when you launch a product, it fails in the initial steps, and you again do a market research regarding to know the reason of failure of that product. Then after that you relaunch the product with the feedbacks provided from the market research study. So with the help of that, you again relaunch the product, and after that the product started running in the market. So you have to make this thing into the mind also. The example I've already written: a holiday greeting card business may want to conduct research before or around the holiday season buying period, when its customer most likely to be thinking about their purchases. For example, if you want to launch a sweater, then you can't be launching you can't wait to launch this sweater into the summer. You have to launch it in the winter only. Then only your product can sustain in the market, or there will be demand of your product. If it is launched in summer or monsoon, then there will be a very low chance that there will be demand of your product. If you want to sell in that, then you have to put some extra extra offers on that, or because of which you have to face, or you can face some kind of loss regarding for that product. Also, you have seen a very good example in these days regarding the awareness of the timeline. When the COVID-19 happens, most of the insurance company launched the COVID insurance product. Health insurance company launched COVID insurance product, so they adhere the timeline. But also remember, due to adhering the timeline, don't go into the fall that just launch the product, don't see here and there, don't see the pricing of the product. With the adhering of the timeline, you have to see the other things also which is related to the product or service that you are launching. So timeline and the sub things are very much important for the product, to decide the launching of the product. Now the step 3, select the type of research, method or technique. So you want to do the market research. So there are two types broadly. If you want to say, there are two types broadly: primary research and the secondary research. I will be going through each and every type, and where it will be used, I will also try to discuss it with you. So first, let's see the primary research. If you don't go what is written on the slide, in a simple line, primary research is doing research by yourself, generating your own data, using your own data for the analysis purpose is the primary research, right? It's kind of as simple as asking customer or supplier how you feel about a business, or as complex as survey conducted by professional marketing research firm. Primary research can be done in two ways. Here you have seen either in a simple way that the customer who are coming, you ask them, you just ask them the question and then mark the answer on your own, or there can be some complex survey for which the professional marketing research team is hired, or a professional marketing research department is established into your organization only. So primary research, in a simple way, not going to the definition or anything, in a simple way, doing your own research and capturing your own data for the analysis and finding solutions to the problem. If you see the types of primary research, it is of two types: non-reactive and reactive research. Now the non-reactive research is observe how real people behave in the real market situation without influencing that behavior. You don't influence that behavior, just observe what is going on. Like for an example, you can go in a store and watch that people is buying which product with which product. For example, people is buying an egg with the bread. So you observe this thing. You don't have to ask the customer regarding this. You just observe that a people is buying either milk with bread or egg with bread, or the trio itself, the milk, egg and bread. So what you do in the store, you make a section only for the dairy product, in which you keep these three products adjacent to each other. First rack you have bread, second rack you have milk, and third rack you have egg. So you have done a small market research in a very fast manner, a non-reactive kind of market research. You just observe their behavior, won't influence them, and based on the observation, you made a thing which are helping people for getting things at ease. So this is also what you have done right now. Is also kind of market basket analysis, which I will tell you in further slide. Also kind of market basket analysis, in which you are determining that with which product a customer is buying which product. For example, you went to a market, you go to a market and bought a mobile phone. So with that, there are very high chance that you buy a mobile cover, you buy a mobile screen guard, or you buy a specific uh, Bluetooth speaker, which are very good for the music. So what they do, they make a rack for mobile phone, and when you come for the billing, at the billing section, you see that at the back of the billing section, there's a rack where you can find the screen guard, you can find the mobile cover or cases, and you can find the accessories related to your mobile phone. So this is kind of this is a kind of a research with the shopkeeper or the storekeeper has done by the observing. Second thing is that the reactive research. What is reactive research? In this, you do the surveys, interviews and questionnaires. What you do, you go to the customer, ask them, and then write their responses and do the analysis with the data that is collected by you. Second thing is that this research is best left to marketing professionals, as they usually can get more objective and sophisticated result. In reactive research, it is done to find the result for the problem, and not for the adjoining thing. A point-to-point result if you want to find, or a specific result, or a sophisticated result if you want to find, you do these kind of research, the reactive research. Mostly this kind of research is done when you are going to launch a new product or services, or when you are going to introduce some kind of changes into your existing product. Then in this case, you do the reactive research, in which you go to the customer, you go to the target market, you go to the population and ask them some question. They reply back, and with the help of that, you do the analysis with some mathematical tools and techniques, and then reach to a particular conclusion, and then apply those findings into your research, and then finally apply all the things into the product, and then relaunch the product, or kind of launch the 2.0 version of the product. You can see this with the JioPhone. First, the JioPhone was launched, and there was some problem that was faced by the customer, and then the JioPhone 2.0 was launched, in which you can also access the WhatsApp. So this was the problem which was conveyed by the customers to the company only, that yeah, you are giving a good internet connection, you are giving many things and a very reasonable cost, then why not we can use the WhatsApp on this mobile phone only. So what they did, they launched another JioPhone with a quality keypad and WhatsApp enabled in it. So this is kind of the result of reactive research conducted by the company. And yes, don't think that reactive research is conducted by a company and they will ask questions from you. Either they use a proper they try to calculate a sample size, and with the help of that, they only do the research and find a result which will impact the whole population. So yeah, it doesn't mean that if you have not come across to any kind of questionnaire in your life, then these researches are not going on. Yeah, these are going on. You just are not part of that particular sample in which the research has been done. But yeah, you are the part of the population for which that sample is giving the result. The examples of the primary research are direct mail questionnaires, online or telephonic surveys, experiment, panel studies, test marketing, behavior observation. There are many ways in which the primary research can be done. One thing is the direct mail questionnaire, what you sometimes find on YouTube. You watch a video and in middle of a video you find that there are 5 questions. Either you have to answer, you want to answer, you can skip those questions. So these are the kind of the questionnaire that are either sent to you, either any medium that you use frequently. Sometimes there are also Google Forms which are distributed among the people and asked by the company or a startup to kindly fill this questionnaire as we are doing this research for this product or the service. Often you find these kind of questionnaires on social media account like Facebook, Instagram, even LinkedIn. You get to find these things frequently, so you can go and fill the form if that product is going to affect you in if launched in the future. Online or telephonic service, sometimes companies calls you and describe that we are launching this product. There are some questions we want to ask. If you give, then it will be very good for us to decide whether the product launch is good or whether the product that we have decided to launch is good for this market or not. Then the experiment, panel studies, or then test marketing. There are many ways in which the primary research can be done. So this is simple. The company itself collects the data with the help of questionnaire or anything they have created which align with the problem, and the data which has been collected is analyzed by the company for the further studies. Now, after the primary research, the secondary research. What a secondary research is, in a simple language, if I want to say, using someone else research or someone else article to uh, get a small solution regarding your problem. It doesn't give a point solution, but it give a overall idea regarding the problem for which you want to find the solution. The secondary research is quite faster and less expensive than primary research, because in primary research, what you have to do, you have to go to the field and you have to properly make the questionnaire, collect the data, and do every stuff. It include many stuff for which the money is used. Sometimes what happens, you either allocate your own team for this or you hire some other team, some third party, then you have to give money to those teams. So primary research require a lot of money. In secondary research, what you have to do, you have to just utilize the information which is already published or which is already present in the market, either the surveys done by some experienced market research organizations, some books, magazines, research article, etc., which has been already published. So you can just refer from those material for your secondary research, because there are many research which are conducted in a regular manner, for which the surveys are published by the market research companies. So you take the result of those survey, you acknowledge those results also in your study. So you take results of those survey, and with the help of those results, uh, you try to find the solution. But remember, the secondary research don't give the exact solution. It kind of give a way to the exact solution, not the exact solution, but the primary research will give you the exact solution, because in the primary research, this is your target market. You itself go there, you design the questionnaire by yourself, which align to your problem directly, which align to your objective directly, which align to the issues that the company is facing directly. So primary research gives the answer more in a proper way, or in a point manner, or in a way directly affects the gives the solution which directly affects the problem. So most of the time, what company do, they do both the secondary research and primary research. First they do the secondary research, then they again filter the problem, then they again polish the problem and do the primary research after that. So most of the time they do both of the things, because in secondary research the cost is not that much, it is not so much expensive. Sometimes it is also free, because in most of the companies they have uh, took a subscription of a magazine or book, and they are getting the latest copies of those magazines and book, and out of those things they only do the secondary research. So it's kind of a free thing for them, or free is a not good word, you can say a very less expensive for them. A simple example of secondary research is that an article may show how much working movement spent on convenience food last year. There's an article published in some magazine that which are showing that the working how much a working woman or a working mother spent on a convenience food last year. So if you are a startup, or you are a company which is going to launch a convenience food section, convenience food vertical, then this information would show you the interest or interest regarding the convenience food in the market, but this will not show you the accurate numbers, that how much have been sold. Accurate number, it just gives you a glimpse or an overall number, but not the accurate number that in this market this number has been sold, in this market this number has been sold, or this type of convenience food has been sold this much, this type of convenience food has been sold this much. So this doesn't give you the accurate number. This give you an overall gist, with the help of which you can reach to some conclusion, or you can or this can help you to polish your problem statement or your objective in a nice way, and then go for the secondary research. So in my view, if you are doing any kind of research, first go for the secondary research, then again see your problem, and then if you are able to polish your question, if you are able to get some kind of result with the help of that, then you go for the primary research to get the exact result, so you can decide what to do in the coming future. Now step 4 is the designing research question. So after you have determined the problem, the objective, you have determined which type of research has to be done, or in which flow the research has to be done, you have determined the budget, you have determined the timetable, everything. The next step is designing the research question. How the research question have to be designed. What are the things that you have to keep in mind while designing the research question? I have described all these things in this slide. The first and the most common research instrument is the questionnaire. The most common thing is the questionnaire that most of the company use for their research, in which you will get some questions. There are some options like a KBC for you, Kaun Banega Crorepati kind of thing for you, for which you won't get any kind of money. You just get a new product for which you have to spend the money. So it's kind of that thing. A questionnaire will be given to you. So keep these small tips in your mind while designing a questionnaire. First thing is that keep it simple and include instruction for answering all the questions. You must include the instruction for answering all the question, because sometimes you use scales, sometimes you use some ranking. So you must you must give a small instruction regarding how this answer will help and how to mark this particular answer. And most important thing, at the beginning of the questionnaire, do write your objective and the problem statement, and why you are conducting this research, how this will impact the market, what will be the positive impact of this research or the finding of this research on the market. So at the beginning, do write those before starting the accurate questions. So first thing, keep it very simple, include instruction for answering all the questions. Or what you can do, if there are first 5 questions in which you have to just mark yes no, then just write instruction at the beginning that in this section you have to just mark yes and no. In the same, you find your own examination copies, then in this section you have to write short answer question up to word limit of 40 or 50. Right. So in this also you can make different sections. The first section you just mark yes or no. Second section you have to rank on your past experience or on your own kind of things. So you just have to mark the rank out of 5, 1 being the poor and 5 being the excellent. In the next step, you can write, you have to mark a comparison scale can be there, which is known as Likert scale. You can mark that, or you can write the meaning of that thing at the beginning in a simple manner, and then write the whole question. In the last step, you can do these things depending on the questionnaire. Now the second thing is begin the survey with general question and move toward more specific one. Yeah, at the beginning, don't ask directly the specific question. At the beginning, ask the general question only, because first it's your target to make your customer comfortable at the beginning. Don't directly jump to the specific question or the technical question at the beginning. ask his name, his education qualification, then anything general related to the public. Right. After that, go for the specific question which is directly related to the product or service that you are going to launch. So begin with the general normal question, easy question, and then move to the specific question. Same what happened with you in the examination. First, they are easy question to make your morale high. Then the difficult one will shows to you. Third is design a questionnaire that is graphically pleasing and easy to read. Yeah, here you must focus on that. It should be easy to read. It should not be cluttered very much. A proper spacing should be there. It should not contain so many option in the section when the person has to choose an option out of some given. So it should be kind of 4 options will be sufficient, 5 options will be sufficient. It should not be that you have given them 50 option that you have to choose out of these 50 options. This will be kind of the thing that the customer, when he will be filling the form, he or she will feel bored that what you want from them. You want that they give all of their time in filling that questionnaire only. And the fourth thing which I have not mentioned in that, always make a questionnaire that don't take so much time of the respondent to fill. Take kind of very normal time, 8 to 9 minutes. It will be very high. Try to focus on that the customer can fill it in a very optimal time, and also it should be pleasing in a way that they will find it interesting to fill. Do not repeat a same kind of question more many times, because what happens that the customer will feel like, yeah, you have asked this in that section only, why you are again asking this in this section, right? So try to make each and every question unique, don't repeat. Then try to build a story in the question itself, a proper story you can build, or a proper flow. Here I don't mean that you have to tell them a story. A proper flow should be there, that when the customer is filling question number 4, he or she should be very much interested to know what will be the question number 5, then what will be the question number 6, and how these questions will impact the product or service that you are going to launch, or how this will impact the problem that for which you are doing this study. So try to follow these things. I repeat in a simple way, keep it simple. At the beginning, always write the objective, or always write the main thing why you are conducting this research. Start with the general question, or I must say the easy question, then move to the moderate one, and then to the specific or technical question. Design a questionnaire that is graphically pleasing and easy to read. Means it should be well presented in front of your customer, or in front of the respondent. And last, it should not take so much time of the respondent, because before going to the respondent, always try to keep yourself in their shoes. Always try to think whether, if this questionnaire will present in front of you, whether you will fill the whole questionnaire, or you will go to the last page or not. Always try these things, because everyone is a customer. You are also a customer for some other marketing company, for some other company. So always try to think, if this is presented in front of you, whether you will be able to fill this or not, or you will be able to understand this or not. So always try to question these things from yourself, and then present it into the front of your respondent. The second thing is, before printing the survey, ask a few people to complete the survey and give the feedback. This is the most important thing in any kind of research you are doing, or any kind of thing. Even I have discussed this thing in the prototype session, POC and prototype session. And feedback is very much important. You ask people who you know to fill this form, to have a look at this form and give a feedback whether it is right or not. Don't ask the person in your own organization, because most of them will like, yeah, this is also important, this is also important. Ask them who are kind of prospect customer for you, but you know them, so that you can easily believe that what he or she is giving feedback to you is genuine and will be suitable if incorporated in that survey before presenting it to the real public. So always take the feedback. In anything, you must take the feedback even before launching of the product. You must take the feedback whether this product is good or not. For that only the MVP is created. Now the third step is mixing the form of question. Mix the form of question for different section of the questionnaire. There are mainly 4 to 5 type of questionnaire. Mostly these 4 are used. The first thing is scales. ranking, open-ended question, and close-ended question. So I will be describing each of these one by one. First of all, the scales. In the question where they are answered in form of a scale, you have seen that there is a simple scale given in which you can do the comparisons, or you can give whether it is out of 10 how much marks you want to give. This kind of a scales, this kind of a scale in which you want the respondent to answer whether this product is good, bad, or good, better, best, whatever scale you want to define. So you can define the scale and then present it in front of the respondent. Second is the ranking. Ranking means you want to kind of take a feedback from your customer regarding a product already presented, or you want to launch the 2.0 version of your product. In that, you can ask them to uh, rank the function of that particular product in a manner in which they find most important to least important, out of which you can decide that what function can be removed and what new functions can be incorporated in this. So these ranking can be done. These two are used frequently, and you can find in many questionnaire that they are scale given, they are ranking, in which you are asked to these uh, rank these functions related to a product in a specific manner, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these two are the things that you can easily understand or relate what are the scale and ranking. The third thing is the open-ended question, and fourth is closed-ended question. The open-ended question is more like a qualitative research, in which what you do, you won't provide the options to the customer, to the respondent. You just ask them the question, and they provide their answer their own basis on their own basis. It's kind of, or you provide them just a fill in the blanks, and they fill the answer by their own experiences. In this, the answer is not biased one, because when you provide them the four options, then they only have choice to select from that four options only. So it is kind of a thing where they can write whatever they feel to write with respect to that question only. In this, they can also give you some suggestions. In this, they can provide you with some real kind of tips that can be incorporated in the product. These are the open-ended questions. Last is closed-ended question. It is simple, where you provide yes or no, where you provide four option and ask them to select one option out of the provided four options. So these are the closed-ended question, in which you have restricted the area of the answers. You have restricted that the respondent can choose only answer from these four options. So you must try to incorporate all the types of question, all the types of form in your questionnaire, because it will help you to get the data which is not a biased one, which is non-biased data. Because from the non-biased data, you can do a real analysis, you can get the real result, which will help in redefining your product, which will help in making a product very well with respect to the market before launching it in the front of people. Step five is collect the data. Now you have designed the questionnaire for the problem related to launching of the product, service, or anything. Now the fifth step is the data collection. This is the step which takes time. So in this, you have to make sure that the time limit is adhered properly. It is followed in a very good manner. So in the data collection, it also the time taking part. Either you give the team a clear-cut instruction that I want data to be collected in 1 month. In this, what you do, you give the sample size, and you just ask the team, at any cost, I want this data to be collected in this particular time. Or what happens, sometimes you don't take the sample size into consideration. You just ask the team to collect data in 1 month, as maximum as you can. But as per my past experience, some experience of research work, and as per my if I want to say, always try to stick to a sample size, because sample size will help you to properly define the particular population which are targeted by you. So to obtain a clear unbiased and reliable result. Collect the data under the direction of experienced researcher. For this, you always there's either the company hire experienced market research team, either the company have their own dedicated market research team, and sometimes company also hire some universities and colleges with the help of which they try to collect the data. Most of you, if you have gone to the internship, most of you have find out that these kind of stuffs have been carried out by you in the guidance of someone. So what happened in this in the guidance of either of your faculty or the researcher present at the company, you try to collect the data by going to some different place and by in a mall or in a shop, anything. So in this the third party which is helping the particular organization for a data collection is an institute, a university, or a college. So for the clear, unbiased, and reliable result, the data should be collected in the direction of experienced research, because in the research because in the data collection, the quality of data is also to be tested at every point, whether it is collected is in sync with the problem, is in sync with the objective or not, or whether it is collected in a proper manner or not, whether you are asking the question properly to the respondents or not, because sometimes you go into that area where the respondent can't read. So here you have to explain the respondent properly and take the answers from them. So in this, a guidance of expert researchers or expert industry person is required. Now, the second thing is that before beginning the data collection, you must train, educate, and supervise your research staff. Yeah, I want to share a personal experience. I did a research work with one of the NGO in Ahmedabad, Self-Employed Women Association. That research work was funded by uh, some farmers organization, and also the result was shown in the UN Assembly. So in that, I was given a charge of three states: Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, and Uttarakhand. So what my duty was, that the second thing, that I have to train the whole staff that how the research, how the data should be collected. I was asked to educate the whole staff there that how the data should be collected, how it should be shifted from the paper to the computer, and how it should be arranged in the computer, and what in which software the data it should be arranged, how to interpret this data, if how to interpret the qualitative data in a proper manner. So my duty was to kind of train the whole staff which was under me. So this is one of the most important steps. When I went there, I was like, just I have to just tell them in one session that yeah, this is the questionnaire, you just go and ask the respondent to fill the questionnaire. But when I start doing that, I realized that this is not limited to this. The training include many things. I have to explain each and every questionnaire to the staff which are going to conduct the survey in the field. I have to educate them, and then I have to also tell what the problem we are addressing through this market research or through this research. So it kind of telling each and everything to your staff, because once they know the problem, they understand the problem, they can easily relate the question, and they can easily explain the question to the respondent and take the answers from that. Right. So there my duty was this, to do the seamless data collection. Also, I did the work in the designing the questionnaire for them. So these were the steps which is kind of most important, because defining the problem, then defining the objective, budget, and timetable is very good. But if you have not derived the questions in a proper manner, if you have not made the questionnaire questionnaire in a proper manner, then whole of your previous work has gone into vain. That has been wasted, and there is no meaning of continuing the market research in the future. So education or training the team is highly important, and it should be done with utmost care, that the data which is going to be used in the future good uh, is good and can be used easily in the analysis. Now, the third thing is that stick to the objective and rule associated with the method and technique you have set in step 2 and 3. Yeah, I have told you earlier also that all these steps in market research are kind of interconnected with each other. So we must look on the previous steps also as we start moving forward. So when you are step 5, always try to see whether the step 4, 3, 2, and 1 are in sync with the step 5 or not. When you go to the step 6, always see that whether the previous steps are in sync or not. Is there any kind of gap created in between of any steps? Are these going in a smooth manner and proper story manner or not? So always once always try to look behind also if there's any because if you see if you find out there, yes, there's a problem in some step or it is not in sync with that, then you can rectify it at very right time. But if you look at the end of the market research has done, then it will be very late for you to rectify it, and it can hamper the whole result also. Now step 6, organize and analyze the data. Now you have collected the data with the help of the questionnaire. Now the whole data which has been collected is in front of you. You are sitting on a computer, in front of a computer screen or a laptop, and it's now your duty or the duty of your staff to organize this data properly into the software, and then with the help of different software, statistical techniques or thing, start analyzing those data. So let's look at the important points which impact the step 6 or organizing and analyzing the data. First, once the data has been collected, it needs to be cleaned. When the data is collected, before this, transfer those data into a proper software which you are going to use for the further analysis. So once the all thing has been done, the data has been transferred, each thing has done, then clean the data. Cleaning here means doesn't mean that organize it in a proper manner or design it with something. No, cleaning means that remove the outliers data, remove the data which remove those rows or those columns, those rows mainly which I find that most of the question has been left blank. Remove those respondent where you can easily find that this is not a part of a target market. It has just been collected on either on accidental basis or just or on a basis to for the sake of collection of the data. Sometimes this happens also that you want to conduct research for age group of 18 to 44, but there are some respondent whose age is kind of 56, 57. So you have to remove that because they will either hamper your solution or won't give that much won't give that much of important points which will relate to the solution of the problem. Then cleaning research data involve editing, coding, and tabulating result. Yeah, I will be giving you a small glimpse in the next slide that what tools and techniques are generally used for the data analysis or the organizing of data. I will also give you, I will also tell you the tools and the tools which are used in organizing of data, then cleaning of data and all this stuff, and also the technique which is used in data analysis. Third is that look for data focusing on immediate market needs. So it is kind of visual analysis. Look at the data and find out that what are the points which are focusing on the immediate market needs. Then fourth is rely on subjective information only as support for more general finding of objective research. Here the subjective information means the answer you get from the open-ended questions. So these kind of questions are not directly put into the data analysis. These are mainly help as a supporting pillar for the whole data analysis. What you do, you have you have responses of 100 respondents, and in every response there is one open-ended question, or you can say there's one open-ended question in your questionnaire, and you have got 100 responses for that one open-ended question. So you don't put that particular thing into the analysis. What you do, you go through those open-ended questions, then try to summarize those in a single paragraph and use that particular summary, that particular finding as a supporting pillar for the result that you have got from the analysis. If it is if the analysis result is matching with that summary, it is well good, you have done a very well market research. If it is different from the analysis result that you have got from after doing the mathematical analysis or something, that's kind of biased research, which means the question that you have given to them, or the close-ended question that you have given to them, is containing the option which are more of a biased. And in the open-ended question, the respondent has given all his feelings in providing the answers related to the problem or related to the question. So always try to give the questions open-ended and close-ended in a manner that when you will find the result, when you will get the result, the summary of the close-ended question, the summary of the open-ended question, and the result that you get from the statistical tools and technologies or the techniques is in sync or is kind of similar to each other, and the summary is properly helping or acting as a good pillar for the results, for the result of the close-ended questions. Next is analyze for consistency. Compare the result of different method of your data collection. In this, what you do the data collection, try to compare results with the help of different methods that is being used. There are many results whose target, there are many methods whose target is the end target is same, but you have to look on the thing that which result is giving which method is giving more accurate result, and what are the dependent and independent variable in those methods. So always try to find out and try to find the answer to the question that why is there so much of difference if it is occurring among the result produced by different methods. Last is look for common point that may be counted together. This is the same thing what I have told you regarding the open-ended question. Try to find out the common points among the whole result, the analysis result, the summary, the result that the summary that you have created from the open-ended question. Try to try to tabulate or write a common opinion which can be counted together and which you don't have to tell again and again. You just have to say a single paragraph or single line which cover all of these things in a small sentences. Now the part of step 6, that tools and method that can be used for data organization and analysis. There are certain tools and methods which are right now very much in talk, which are right now very much used and right now very much booming in the current market. The field is very much booming in the current market, the analytics field. There are some tools and technologies or techniques which are currently used, or I am just giving you a glimpse of these tools and techniques. There are more tools, there are other more tools, but I have given the names of some commonly used tools. There are also there are also many methods other than these. I have just given you a list of some common methods, techniques which are used in a very frequent manner for the analysis of the data that is collected. So first, let's go to the tools which are used for the data organization, data cleaning, data analysis, and data presentation. First thing, you know very well, Microsoft Excel and Google Sheet. It can be used for the proper initial data collection, or you can say the organization of data. It can be used in that thing. Now, second thing, there is a software called R or Python. It is used for statistical and you can say the statistical analysis or the machine learning analysis, with which you can do the future prediction. You can try to find the answer of the future with the help of the past results. There's also a new software that is in the market, Julia, kind of combination of R and Python. There's a software IBM SPSS Stata, which is also similar to R and Python or Julia, but in this you don't require to write code. Many options are available. You can select and do the analysis with the options available if it is applicable for you. So in this you can use this software. Now these two softwares, Tableau and Power BI, which is mainly used for data visualization, also known as business intelligence software. In this you do the visualization of the data collected. Sometimes you don't have to use high level statistical technique or machine learning technique. Sometimes the visualization also do a very good thing, the data visualization. If you properly visualize the data, you will properly see the data with the help of only some graph, then sometimes it only do the most of the stuff for you. So for this you can use Tableau and Power BI. Also, the visualization can be done in Google Sheet or Microsoft Excel, but these are kind of pioneer in this field, the Tableau and Power BI. Now, last is Alteryx, currently used in many organizations, in which you do the analysis with the help of flowchart. A different flowchart is created or connections is created. Drag and drop features is used in this, and you do the analysis with the what is required to get the solution for your problems. These are the tools which are mainly used in the industry. Most of the tool commonly used are Microsoft Excel, R, Python, and Tableau and Power BI. These are, you also have heard a lot about this, even in the campus, outside the campus, in the industry, in the company you have gone for the internship. You have commonly seen this in the analytics field. Now, the analysis techniques which are generally used for the data analysis of the data collected from market research, the exploratory data analysis. This is kind of analysis in which you do the visualization part. You create graphs, different kind of graphs, univariate graph, bivariate graph. These are the technical terms. So you create graph. With the help of these graph, you try to find out the answer, whether the responses from the respondent that has been recorded is following a proper distribution, or it is not biased. With the help of histogram, you can find out that whether the responses is biased or not, whether it is uniformly distributed or not, what is the impact of one response on another response. You can find from the exploratory data analysis. Now there is correlation techniques. With the help of that, you can find the relation between two two things, that what is the impact of feature A on feature B, kind of cause and effect. But in this, you can find both positive effect or negative effect, and that what is the relation of function A on function B, either it is positive or negative. Then there's regression. There are different kinds of regression, linear and logistic. Here, with the help of this, you can do the prediction with the help of past data for the future scenario. Then time series analysis and forecasting. In this, what you do, you get the idea of that the past sales, and if you have the past sales of a long time, then you can do the forecasting. You can find a trend there, that from the past 4 years, how the trend is going on regarding your existing product, whether it's need to be updated or not. With the help of this, you can find this. You can do the forecasting. If it is updated and launched again in this time, then how it will go in future. With the help of this, you can also find a trend, that in which season this particular project is sold at a higher rate, and in which season it is sold at less rate. What are the reasons? Then you can find out with the further analysis. Then there is some clustering. You can see in the OTT platform like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Z5, and other many platforms. If you have seen thriller movies very much, then they cluster those movies or similar movies and present it to you as a suggestion. These are the clustering, in which you cluster people of same kind in one pack, and present the same kind of suggestion to them again and again for the purchase. Most of these clustering techniques is used by e-commerce company. They generally use it very well. You can see, if you have seen electronics devices on Amazon, then if you again open up with the same IP address, with the same email address, you can find out that they have given you the suggestions regarding the electronic devices very much. They have flooded your screen with the electronics, with the suggestion related to mobile phone, suggestion related to laptop, suggestion related to their accessories or not. So this is kind of clustering. Then there's market basket analysis, in which what I have told you in the section, that a person is buying egg with bread, or a person is buying milk with bread. So this, in the market basket analysis, what you analyze the result, you analyze the data, with the help of which you can decide what product is generally being sold with what another product. So with the help of that, you place the product in that manner only into the market. Sometimes you can see that belt and wallets are placed in adjacent to each other, because these are kind of accessories and mostly bought at the same time. Many of us go to market, buy a belt, and we see that wallet is also present there, so we also pick that and buy those things. And now there are some other techniques also, RFM technique, AHP. These are all covered into market analytics. So all the market analytics is kind of a step which include the analysis of the data collected from the market research, or general collection which is going around a year by the company. So the analysis is done, and with the help of that, the results are derived. These are the part of thing. Also in Frolic, we are going to launch the course in which we will be teaching the same things, the same tools and techniques. So the same thing will be delivered to you. So we are also making a move to launch another vertical of Frolic, EDU Frolic, in which the same thing will be taught to the interested student which will join the course. Now the step 7, the present the finding. After you do all the analysis, what you will do? Just keep those five closed? No. What you have to do, you have to present your finding in a very proper manner in front of the stakeholders. If you are a third party company, then present your findings in front of the clients. If you are a in-house market research company, then present your finding in front of the sales team, front of the marketing team, front of the supply chain management team, which have raised the problem and you have did the survey for. So present the finding in front of the stakeholders. So once the market information is collected and analyzed, present it in an organized manner to the decision makers of the business. Those findings helps a lot in making the future decisions regarding the business, regarding the product or services, and can also affect the fate of the company either in a positive or a negative way. If the research is done in a positive manner or in a proper manner, adhering all the important points in mind, then those findings will help in getting a very good uh, good thing for the organization and help organization in a positive way. If anything is lacked during the research, then that can also put a negative impact in two types. Either the finding will not support the further business, and also if it not support the further business, then the money used for the market research is also wasted along with the time that has been utilized for the market research. So you may want to report your finding in the market analysis section of your business plan. You may want to familiarize your scale and marketing department with the data, or conduct a company-wide information training seminar using the information. So with the information, you can do many things. If you have seen something new, then you can do the training related to that, and then ask your employees to use these things to in the product or development of the product. So with the finding, not only it helps in making a new product, but also it helps in learning new tools and techniques for your own employees, and then incorporating it into the product that you are going to launch or the service that you are going to launch. So how the findings has to be presented in front of the stakeholders, the clients, or the person which will be affected or by the research, or which have asked your team to do the research. So these can be presented with the help of the four techniques or tools, not limited to, but these are mostly used, commonly used. You have also seen in your institute also, or the company you are going to join, or you have joined during the internship. The document file, the Word file, you just submit a report to the stakeholder. They will go through the report and give the remarks to you. Either the PDF file, does one or the same things, or the presentation, a proper presentation in front of the panel, followed by a proper question answers and all the things. So in this you can use Microsoft PowerPoint and other softwares. Microsoft PowerPoint is generally used. There are also other online softwares or online platforms that are presented right now. Prezi is one of that has been used mostly very much in these days. Fourth thing is which is right now used very much, dashboarding and story. In this, you don't give result in a written manner. Mostly you try to present it in a graphical manner, or in a manner which is kind of soothing to the eyes, in which you can see the changes happening in a continuous way. The dashboard and stories. Dashboard, if I explain you in a single line, when you present four graphs which are interrelated to each other, and if there's any impact or any change happen to one graph, then it also impact the other three graphs. This is a dashboard. You can generally use softwares like Tableau, PowerPoint, or Quilk, or there are more other software to create a dashboard and story. So these are the way you can present your finding, and this is the whole 7 step that we have just covered. What in which through which you can do a proper market research and present the finding of the research in front of the stakeholder. Now we have seen, that how the market research is to be conducted, but we must keep in mind that when and how not to conduct the market research. If you have positive things in your mind, then always keep a negative part of that also, so that you can uh, save yourself, your organization, your money and time if you are not ready for taking that that step of doing the market research. First thing is lack of resources. If you don't have that much money which can be used for the market research, don't go for that, because sometimes what happen, you think that yes, we will do the market research, use this money, but you find out that the result is not supporting that money is kind of over. So for that time it is not required that much. If you have not the resources, you have not properly licensed software to use, you have not a dedicated team who can do the market research, don't go for the market research. Then when research is used only as a rubber stamp of a preconceived idea, if you have like, yeah, I have studied market research, now let's do it, but you are not using the findings of the market research, then it is not good for you to do the market research just for the rubber stamp thing. Don't go for it. If you want to just fake it, then why you are wasting the money on market research? Even just use the old document, do some changes by your own, and then sign it. This is your market research report. So just for the show, don't do this. If you really want to incorporate the idea, really want to know what is the reason behind any problem that you are facing, you want to know whether the product or service will go in the market, and you want to use those findings in your business, then only go for the market research. Third is late timing. If you have defined a timetable for market research and it is taking so much time to generate the result, don't go for it. Always try to optimize the time so that the result is not generated in a very late manner. The result should be generated in a quick manner and presented in front of market, so in front of the company, so that a good decision can be taken place. Fourth thing is, if a product is in decline phase, there's little point in researching new product variant. For example, if similarly, if I again talk for the Nokia, it is not a good it must not it was not a good move for Nokia to again do the market research for their Symbian OS or their Lumia series, Nokia Lumia series, which was built on Microsoft Windows. So for them, market research is not required. You must do the market research either for the new product or service that you can launch and that can impact your business in a positive manner. So always see whether this market research will help in future, or you are just doing for just knowing the result, because knowing the result is not only necessary. Knowing the result, then using those result for increasing your sales and profit, then it will be good for you to go for the market research. Now, market research cannot be helpful unless it is probing a particular issue. Yeah, what I have told, always try to find out the result for the objective. Don't do a vague thing that you have found so many of results with the help of market research, and it is not aiming the main problem, then it is not good. Do the market research, either do it short and simple. You don't have to go for so much of detail. Do it short or simple, but try to find out the answers to the problem which are there in front of you. Last is cost outweighs benefit. Sometimes what happen, there's some benefit if you do the market research, and if I do the market research, there's a profit of 50 lakhs 50 lakhs after I do the market research and on the product. But in second hand, you also know that the market research only take the 60 lakh of money in conducting whole research and all the things, then it is not good. Always try to find out that the cost of market research must be very low as compared to the what benefit you will get from the finding of the market research to the sales of your product and the overall profit. So always try to do research and keeping in your mind that cost should be less than benefit. C should be less than B. Here C means the market research cost. MRC should be less than B. Now this is a thumb rule of doing the market research. It is a graph between market size and expected profit margin. So you can see, I will not go into that detail. It just show you in which particular segment the MRC will be higher than the benefit, or market research cost is higher than the benefit. In this, you will not get so much of benefit with the help of market research. So you can see that when the market size is so small, and the expected profit margin is low, then in that case market research is not that much required. You just go on producing the product. For example, here I have also written a simple line: replacement is true for spectacles. It is not that much required to do a market research for this thing, for conducting a research regarding the screw which is used in the spectacle. the market is very much low right now nowadays, because most of us what do, if there's a problem in the spectacle, we try to buy a new one with a new design, with a fresh design, fresh perspective. So there's a very small market regarding this, or you can say the market research is not required that much. Then there are some cases that the profit margin is low but market is very much high. For example, the new brand of frozen fish, the non-vegetarian are very low, and consumption will be very low as compared to the vegetarian food, uh, but you can the profit margin is very low, market size is good, and you can go for it. The benefit will be good, but the market research cost will be lesser than the benefit. So you can see the adjacent table what I have made into the right below the MRC and B table, that whenever there is a one element of large or high, then in this case the benefit will be greater than the market research cost. So always try to do the market research in the segment when either the market size is high, or the expected profit margin is high, or both is large or high. So always go for the segment, and always go for the decision to do the market research in these kind of segments only. Now, last is the what are the frequent pitfall in the market research? What are the point in which we fail, or we kind of do some mistakes which hamper the results, or which hamper the final findings of the market research? Is the poor definition of the problem. We have analyzed, we have seen the opportunity, but we have not defined the problem very well. Then it will hamper in the whole coming step, because it is the step one. The initial thing is weak or is bad, then it will surely impact the whole stage, because with the help of that you won't find good objective. With the help of that, if the objective is not found, you can't design a good questionnaire. Then you can't then you will not be able to collect proper data, which will not in the sync of the opportunity from which the problem is defined. So always give a good time in defining the problem. Always try to define problem in a very proper manner, and then move to the further steps. Second is designing the questionnaire. What I have told, give a good time in questionnaire. Also try to uh, uh, design the questionnaire in a way that the respondent will want to share their feedback, share their responses with the help of questionnaire, and it is easy for them to read and understand. Because every time there won't be a person who will be explaining your questionnaire to the respondent. Sometimes it is just thrown to the respondent through the help of social media, email marketing, or with the help of other platform, in which the respondent have to understand by himself or herself the meaning of question, the meaning of objective, the meaning of problem, and then decide whether he or she want to fill the questionnaire or not. Now, third is sample size is small. Sometimes what we do, I've also come across this thing in recent days, that one of my friend was filling a form of PhD, and he has selected a very broad problem, and this he has only written that I will select a sample size of 150. I asked him a simple question, whether this 150 denotes the population or not. The sample size, you have to select a proper sample size so that it can show the population in a very well manner. If you want to do the market research for the North India, then you must select the sample from the North India only, and not go to selecting the sample in the South India or the West India. So you have to make sure whether the sample size is collected properly or not. There are two ways in which the sample size can be selected. There's a mathematical formula you can find out anywhere, either in a statistics book or on internet. I don't remember it right now. And finally, there's a gut feeling. With the help of past experience also, you can see the sample size. Some of the researchers, you will find out that with the help of only their past experience, they can easily define what the sample size should be, and whether this sample size impact the whole population or not. And last, the data collection is inadequate. The data is not collected properly. Sometimes you can see, if there's a person who will be explaining the whole questionnaire to the respondent, sometimes he or she only what they do, they just go in the field and don't ask the respondent to fill. They just fill on their behalf, and sometimes they just randomly tick on the answers. So in this also, the data is not collected in a proper manner. Also, sometimes you are not doing the random survey. What you do, you just call all the person from a single society and ask them and ask the questions from them, and fill the answer from a person of a single society or a single of a single road. Because in this, the behavior will be slightly biased, because they are living in the same area, they will talk to each other in the manner, they will have kind of same opinion regarding that particular product. This happens generally, not always. So this can happen in the data collection. To try to do a random survey, random data collection will be good. Try to do the survey with the respondent who is kind of very much passionate about the data collection, who will drive this data collection thing in a very proper manner, and will try to take the data in a proper manner. Now the fifth thing is the analysis of data. In this step also, sometimes the company fails, they don't use the proper analysis technique which has to be used there. So what should a company do during the definition of the problem, during the making of the questionnaire? They must have to keep this in mind, that what type of data will be collected, and what statistical technique should be used there for the analysis of that data to find a result. So these five things: the poor problem definition, poor designing of the questionnaire, small sample size, or you can say inadequate sample size. Sometimes not only the poor, also the large sample well, the large sample size will not hamper, but small sample size will mostly hamper. So the the large sample size will hamper in the way that it will consume more of the time or more of the budget. So always keep the sample size in a very optimal manner, in a very proper manner, and do a good point estimation of the sample size. Don't go for the range optimization for the optimization for a sample size. Do a simple small range if you want to do, but try to find a point estimation. You can get the formula online easily for finding the sample size. It based on some aspects like Z score, statistical aspects like Z score, standard deviation, confidence interval, population. These all things impact the sample size, and the formula is kind of dependent on these variables only. Fourth is data collection. If the data collection is inadequate, and finally the data analysis is inadequate. Not the right tools, not the right techniques has been used. Sometimes what you do, only exploratory data analysis is enough for the data analysis, but just for the sake of showing to the stakeholder, you do the regression. Here, yeah, you will get the result with them, because before doing the regression, everyone do the ED, exploratory data analysis, or the data visualization. You will get the result, but also here you have wasted your time, you have wasted your budget in doing the regression and all the techniques. So this is kind of a pitfall in market research and further market research analysis, data analysis, which kind of hamper your organization in, or impact your organization, either in the final findings, either in the budget, either in the uh, time limit or the deadlines. This was all from my side for today. Thank you, and if you have any question, then you can shoot.
All right, so we are now open for the question answer. First of all, thank you, sir, for such a detailed explanation. And now we are open for question answer. If you have any doubt, please write in the chat box, or you can raise your hands and then speak and you tell your question. So, sir, by now we have two questions in the chat box. The first one is from Margaret Francis. She says, please explain panel studies. So
Yeah. I've seen it. Yeah. The first question which I've seen is, please explain the panel studies. This is kind of you have seen mostly the panel discussion. This is similar to that, or you can say the focus group discussion, in which you throw a question in front of a panel, in front of a group, and with the help of their discussion, you get the answer for your questions. So panel study is simple. You select a panel of 7 to 8 people in this in the domain and ask them the question, or they discuss on that problem and give a common opinion on that. Or in another way, you can say the panel studies as focus group discussion, in which you appear in front of a group having 8 people, 10 people, or any number of people, and you ask them the same question and you ask them to give answer. In panel studies or focus group discussion, there is mostly open-ended question. You won't be asking the close-ended question yes or no. You will be asking the open-ended question on which the discussion can take place, and you will get a answer from the discussion that took place in front of you. So I think I have cleared it out. What is a panel discussion?
Okay, so the second question is, suppose I am a startup for clothing industry, something like Myntra. What kind of market research should I focus on? What are the steps for research, as I think that something like Python, Table AU will require an extra employee, and being a startup, we are a small team.
That's a very good question. The second part is quite good. I will explain you in detail. First thing is that what you asked, suppose I am a startup for clothing industry, something like Myntra. What kind of market research should I focus? Like in this, you have to focus on two type of market research. First thing is that how much of your target market will invest in the e-commerce, whether they are comfortable with the e-commerce, whether the area you are targeting is quite kind of comfortable in buying product from online platform. Second thing is what kind of clothes you will be providing. For example, in Frolic, what we are doing, we are just providing the clothes from health, which are kind from a health industry, or which are used mostly in the health industry. So you have to decide what kind of clothes you are going to provide. You have to do research from that. Yeah, these are the clothes segment in which I will be entering. So you can ask them to uh, uh, them to give answer from that. Do a close-ended question. Give a close-ended questions to them, not the open-ended, with the help of which you can get the answers from these two segments. Keep in mind, first thing, e-commerce, whether the target market is comfortable with e-commerce, and second, what kind of product the target market will welcome when you give them the option to choose from. The second thing is that what is the step for research, as I think that something like Python and Tableau will require an extra employee, and being a startup, we are a small team. Yeah, the Python and Tableau require an extra people, but more or less, these are kind of a very easy software. You can go through them also by your own. There are many free stuff available online, or paid stuff from which you can learn easily. Or it is not only it is not like that you only use these software. Even if you are very handy with Excel, I think most of the students are handy in Excel these days, as these are used mostly in your assignments and projects. So you can use Excel also for the basic data analysis. The techniques what I have shown you in the slide, for example, in which the regression, correlation, market basket, RFM, AHP, these all can easily be done in Excel. Even the data visualization can easily be done in Excel. For a budding startup, for a growing startup, if you can't hire a new person, or a specialized person of this field, you can go through Excel only, not an issue, and you can go the initial finding from the Excel, because at the initial stage of a startup, the market research will provide you a very nominal thing. For a startup, it will be not a very big market research, so it can be easily carried out in software like Excel and Google Sheets. So no need to worry about going for Python and Tableau. Yeah, if you have an established organization, then you can go for Python and Tableau for getting more complex result for your studies, for getting more insight regarding your studies or regarding your problem statement.
And Lavishan, I can also add in one thing. Basically, they can also do one thing, that they can try to collaborate with like one genre company. Like if they are selling a sports wear, they can collaborate with sports companies at the first time. So that will happen, that they will get a good amount of data of the users. So that will be really helpful for you in market research. So you will get the amount of taste and everything from that particular data. So that's the first step you can do it, because you're a startup, so obviously you can't afford to like go into this Python and everything. So the best thing you can do is just collaborate with any genre company which you think I would be selling the clothing in. So that's the best thing you can do. And Excel, as already told by Lavishan, that is it's the best thing you can go for free. So Excel has many options to like make a paper charts and everything. So that will definitely help you, and it's a free software or free tool. So that's the best thing you can do it right now as a startup.
One more thing, Divakar has told to collaborate is a very good idea. Second thing is that you can ask the college students, which are right now in a state of doing internships. So you can ask them also to work on Tableau and Python for you, because in most of the college, the new course regarding the data science, data analytics, business analytics has been launched or is being taught as a different subject. So you can also ask the college to provide you the interns. From this they can get a real-time field experience also, and you will get your result in exchange. So this can also be a good idea for a budding startup, because we are also doing the same in many fields. We can not only directly provide money. Yeah, in my case, in our startup case, I know how to use Python, I know how to use R, Tableau, I know how to use these steps, but most of the things like app development, I don't know. Even Divakar don't know how to do the app development and the web development. So for this, we are taking help from the student of second year, third year, who are kind of interested in this field and want to develop app or develop mobile or website for the startup. In exchange, what they want, they just want an experience and a certificate, which will be very good for them, as they can show these certificate to the interviewers in the coming interview sessions.
Okay, sir. So the next one is from Manpreet. It was really a great, amazing session. It's a request to please share your PPT with us for this session, sir. If you can do that.
Yeah, after the session, I will mail the PPT, not an issue,
Sure.
and you can share with the audience.
So we have then two questions from Sonu. First one is, sir, I'm working on a startup based on skill development, soft skill. Please suggest how to proceed for market research by own for initial levels.
Yeah, for the initial level, I think Sonu, we have also discussed some part of it in the earlier session of POC and prototype. What you can do, you just make a list of soft skill, uh, what you are going to teach to your target audience, and the platform through which you are going to teach to the target audience, the price for the soft skill that you are going to take from the target audience, the batch size that you want to make for the target audience. So you can do these things from with the help of your social media account, with the help of your LinkedIn account, with the help of the mail that you have present with you. There are some mails that you have present. If you have with you, then it's good. Otherwise, you can go from the social media account. You can go from the for the from the like open and like going to the respondent by yourself and ask the question from their self in kind of institute, in a mall, in a public place. Right now, don't go, maintain social distancing. So right now, go for a social media platform from which you can take the responses for your questions. And now the second thing is that not only you keep only these 4 questions, there are some more questions. You can make the age group, in which you can find the relation between the age group. For example, you want to teach the soft skill that you want to prepare the youth for the interview, right? So in this, you can make a different age group, and then you can find the relationship between how many people in the age group of 18 to 25 like to learn the interview skills, how many people from the age to 25 to 30 like to learn the interview skill, what will be the price they are willing to pay. So in this, in my opinion, if you want to derive a questionnaire, I will just give you a rough glimpse of questionnaire. In the first section, just ask the general thing from them, like the city they are residing, the gender, now the age group they are in, the current status, whether they are student, employees, or business owners, or anything else, then their name and all. In the second, you can ask them what soft skill they want. You can provide them with the question, with the options, out of which they can either select one or they can select multiple. Second thing, in what manner they want to learn this soft skill, either online or offline. And third question will be connected to the second question only. If online, which platform they want to choose. Either they want to go for Zoom, they want to go for Google Meet, they want to go for Microsoft Teams, they want to go for Cisco or anything. And in last, you can go for it in which batch size they will be comfortable, whether it will be a batch size of 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever option you want to choose, you can choose. And the last thing, what the price they are willing to pay for the soft skill. And last, you can also ask them to provide some suggestions on their own. And there's a one question you can ask, whether you want to club two soft skill into one. For example, if there are two soft skill, group discussion and interview. If there are 7 person who want to club these soft skill, group discussion and interview, then you can make a single batch, which you can charge slightly more, not that much, because if there's a group discussion batch and you will be taking 500 rupees from each student, and in an interview you are also taking 500 rupees in each student, then you can club these two together and then can ask 750 rupees for the two soft skill. So you can also ask the suggestion from them whether you would love to suggest two soft skill into one and learn in a single flow. So you can also do that. So this is kind of a general uh, what you say, a general questionnaire that you can design for this kind of startup that you are planning to do.
Okay, so the next question is how market research is different from market mapping.
Yeah, market research is what in this, you can either use a graphical technique, you can either use a statistical or mathematical technique to reach to a result. You can either use a qualitative data to reach to a summary from which you can derive your result. But in market mapping, what you do, it is mostly of a graphing kind of technique in which you create a graph in which you places different companies or different product in different graphs. For example, you will find out that there will be a graph present. There will be a graph present in which there are four quadrants. First quadrant is high quality and high price. Then there is a second quadrant, high quality and low price. Then there's third quadrant, low price and low quality. And there's a last quadrant, low quality and high price. So in the market mapping, you just only map the company based on their prices and their quality. In this, you don't have to do a field research for them. In this, you mainly deal with your competitors. But in market research, you deal with your own problems. Here you are not kind of dealing with your competitors, you are just dealing with your own problem and try to find the solution regarding to that particular problem. Market mapping will help you to determine in which quadrant you are right now and how you can promote yourself to the upper quadrant. So in this, you can deal with your competitors, and market research you can deal in finding the solution for the problem that you are facing currently.
And market mapping is just basically your analysis over like SWOT analysis, like strength, weaknesses, and everything. So basically, as already told by Love, it's just about like mapping your own product, like how it will be standing in the market, what are the weaknesses, what are its strengths, and how will I be delivering it in the coming like updates which I'll be having in that particular product. So that's the only thing regarding market mapping.
Thanks, Devakar, for adding this point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next question is that how can we approach people and arrange for panel studies?
Yeah, for this, what you can do to approach the people, there are 2 to 3 ways. I can share my experience to you only. Either you can go for the online platform. Yeah, you can share that particular questionnaire to your Facebook profile, LinkedIn profile, or anything. Second, if the COVID period is not there, you can, if you are in Delhi or you are even in Jaipur, not an issue, or any big place, then you can either travel through the public transports and you can ask there to fill the questionnaire. What I did, I was doing a research for a university in Finland. What I did, I just used to go on metro journey from my college, which is situated in Greater Noida. So I used to do the metro journey from the nearest metro station of my college to the most far which I can cover and try to find out the answers, because that is the most random way in which I can collect the responses. So you can also approach them in this. First thing, you have to be kind of outspoken. don't have to be you don't have to be introvert, or if you are an introvert, do this research. I suggest you, then your introvert kind of thing will be removed. You will be able to speak to the crowd easily. Now, apart from this, what for the panel discussion, what you can do, you can either approach some of the institutes, some of the NGO who can help you in this. You can either if you are targeting a kind of age group of 18 to 25, then you could reach to a institute, you can reach to your alma mater only, your college, then that you want to ask these questions from the student of this age group. So you can take them, throw the question in front of them, try to take suggestions from them in front of you, or you can uh, uh, either host a panel discussion on an online platform. You can throw the kind of invitation on the online platform and ask them who should ever be interested can join this, and we will be discussing on this thing. So in this thing, first of all, don't to be an introvert. Make yourself that much that you can ask question at any place, anywhere, in any manner. And the most important thing, बेशरम बनना सीखना इसके अंदर. अगर if you want that you want a proper responses, you have a guts to reach to a people very easily and ask them the question, and also not like that you start doing a bad behavior with them. Ask a question, try to explain your problem statement and objective in a proper manner to the respondent, so that he or she will be comfortable in giving the answers. Most of the time you will be kicked off, I can say, because I have faced this thing in my journey also when I was doing some projects. So most of the time you will be kicked off, but don't take as a setback. Again, go to find some other respondent. If you are kind of shy, then first start doing the market research with the people you know already in the nearby areas. Try to go with your neighborhoods, then your society, people in the society, then then ask them to help you to reach to the person they know. Try to circulate your questionnaire from them to the person they know. And this will be kind of random, but that will be not so much random, but yeah, it will help you gather the initial gist of data. Then after that, if you get the sufficient data, then you can also go for the public transport, which I've told you. For the panel discussion, you can go to the institutes, you can go to the company in which you have some known, and uh, ask them to kindly discuss on these, give a feedback on this. Either you can collaborate with the organizations which are working in the same domain, and if you are doing so, you have to collaborate on your own with some institution and the organization which are willing to invest their time as a panel in discussing the problem that has been thrown by you to them.
All right, so I think that was the last question. So do we have any more questions? Okay, so I think so there are no more questions. So if you say, can you conclude the session now?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, sure, good. So finally, as we come to the end of the session, thank you for such an enlightening and lucid explanation about market research. Thank you for clearing all doubts about and to our utter satisfaction. I hope this session has been helpful for all the budding entrepreneurs who have gathered here on this platform. Finally, on behalf of the whole team of eStar 2021 and the participant, I thank you for spending time from your respective time schedule and making this session so knowledgeable. Thank you, sir, both of you. So much, like.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, yaar. Thank you.
So I think now the session is over. You all can leave now.